What's up, everybody? What's up, Timmy?
Hey, buddy, how's it going? You're right.
I'm good. It's good to have you here. It's
Thank you,
been
mate.
such a long time, and I'm happy
It
we
has.
already caught up a little bit just before the show. And
Yeah, it has. I can't remember the last time I did this. I think it feels like at least half a year or something. So
well,
yeah, it's good to speak to you again.
I think it was like December, no? Like when we did the feedback sessions.
Oh, was it December? Jesus, it's
Do
nearly
you
been a year.
remember this guy called Julian Feima?
Hmm.
He was in the
I do,
show
yeah.
when we did the feedback session, and he sent in some music, and I was like, "Why are you even participating?" I'm not sure if it was ours actually he was in, or the one before, or the one after. I don't know. He was in. I think maybe around that time in December last year. I did lots of these
Yeah.
feedback sessions. This guy's rocking it, man. I'm going to ask him for a dive and live session.
I've actually spoken. I think I've spoken to him on Instagram. So yeah, I remember him well, mate. He was very talented.
Yeah, man. It's like I was like, "Why are you even participating, dude?"
Yeah,
you,
I know. It's
you
always
know.
embarrassing when you're doing feedback sessions and listening to people whose music is a lot better than yours. It's never
Yeah, you're like,
you're like, ah, God, I'm
yeah,
not
yeah,
I'm
you're
not
fucked.
qualified to give this guy feedback. So
I was like, okay, dude. No, but it's if it's finished, it's good. If it's good, it's good. So we
yeah,
got lots of
exactly.
people online. Greg Fletcher's here. Hey, man. Daniel
Oh, hey, Greg.
Ribeiro here from Zurich. Nice. From the gym. Nice. Running
Oh,
and
nice.
watching Diving Live. How cool. Mats van Wijk, Boignan, Zink is here. What's up, man? Nice. You got quite a good crew online here.
Oh,
Andres is
nice. Hi,
here.
guys.
Mr. Shockwave. Saludos, amigo. Gracias por vernos. To see us, whatever. Yeah, I'm trying my Spanish. Still learning Spanish,
That
man.
sounds good, mate. Sounds very
Hey,
good.
but yeah, how's I already asked you a bit. How's Daddy life? It's different, right? How does it?
Yeah, it's great, honestly. It's so Milo is 6 months old. He's an amazing boy. Love him to pieces. Music's been a bit of a it's been on a back seat for me in terms of my own productions now. I'm having a bit of space from it, just focusing on him and also my production coaching that I'm doing,
Yeah,
which is actually really good because I've spent the last 2 years probably releasing 5+ EPs a year, so it's too much.
yeah,
So it's been a nice opportunity for me to sit back and just have a breather. To be
yeah,
honest with you,
exactly.
I
Yeah,
say a breather. I don't sleep anymore, and yeah, I don't. It's a different sort. I think breather is probably not the right term because I'm,
yeah.
I'm absolutely knackered. But you know what I mean. It's like it's a breather from music for me, production anyway.
Yeah, yeah. So it's
So
sometimes nice to take a step back, and
definitely.
and just obviously you just got a child, so that's a lot of
Mhm.
work. Most of my friends have kids by now. Like I'm one of the only one left that's not a daddy, so I'm just building a new studio here.
Yeah, no,
That's the
it's all good
life.
though, mate. I mean,
Yeah.
he's amazing, and he's already got a couple of like Timmy P DJ shirts and stuff, like
Ah, look at
t-shirts that
him
he
go.
wears and stuff. So,
Nice. That sounds like some
like
good merch for people that follow your super serious coaching. That they get like a free shirt when they
that could be
join.
something.
If
Yeah,
you're like
it could be
if you're
something to
like
do.
a subscriber for like X amount of months, you get a free Timmy P shirt as well.
Yeah, it could be an idea, mate. It could be an idea,
Yeah,
but
yeah, of course, man. Merch that shit. I had
yeah.
Drew Dabs here last week. I don't know if you've seen it. He's like a guy from the States, from San Diego, and he's making so much music, man. Like very
Oh, cool.
dubby kind of house
Yeah,
beats,
nice.
and he's got the whole like merch going on. He's got bags, and he's always been into fashion. So his side hustle is sort of like making clothes, like a whole brand, and he skates. It's interesting. So yeah,
It's
man.
brilliant, mate. It's brilliant. It's. I think if you're starting a brand and having a brand, combining things like music, fashion, art, all of
Yeah.
that is such an important piece of the puzzle that I'm, you know, I don't particularly see myself as a fashionable guy, so
Yeah.
I would never even dream of going into that world. But
It's never too
I
late
think
to change.
I think if you can do that, then
Yeah,
amazing. Like it, especially if you can. I mean, me and Dev Star, who I run Make You Move with, he's we've done some t-shirts. We'll
mm,
probably do some more because our label it's sort of all the artwork's hand drawn, and it's a story. So
Yeah.
it actually looks really good on like garments, really. So something to think about. Something to think about, definitely.
Yeah, it's nice. I had these lessons in life caps, or I had a cap and I had some shirts made. So in the beginning, when I started doing courses, I was giving the people that joined the course, I was giving them a shirt at the end. They got a shirt and a pen.
Yeah,
You know,
nice.
so I need to get more pens and more shirts and also these caps. These caps are pretty expensive though, but they're really nice. You know.
Yeah, wicked.
They
Nice. You
really,
have to send me some. I need some of those.
Yeah, man.
Stick them up on the wall behind me.
Yeah, nice for when we do these shows. You know, it's nice.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Okay, Joost Schetters here. Nice. Welcome, dude. Nice you're tuning in. Remco Albers, Eduardo P. What's up? Nice. Good you're all watching. If you're on Facebook, I can't see the comments on Facebook. Only Twitch and YouTube. So if you're on Facebook and you want to join the chat, feel free to join on YouTube or Twitch. Unfortunately, the streaming stuff doesn't connect Facebook. So I saw last week people said lots of stuff like, hey, Camiel, blah, blah, blah. But, you know, I couldn't see it. Only saw it after the show, which is obviously a bit too late. So before we get into any other stuff, let's play some music, because it's always nice to start with a little bit of music to see what, for the ones who don't know Timmy, even though I think everybody's watching probably knows Timmy from his music. And let's play something of the new release on Richie Next label. That's your latest release, right? It's not that old.
It is, yeah. It came out 3 weeks ago, I think.
Nice. Let's give it a little boost. Here we go.
Yeah.
I don't know which one. I called it track 1, but I don't know which one is behind it. It's either... I think this is Broads Are Shite.
Yeah, it's a classic.
Tell me
ridiculous
after,
name.
Tell me after what it means. Yeah,
I will.
We'll be back.
Yeah.
Love can be painful.
Yeah, it can be. It can be.
So what
Indeed.
was the story about the broths? Because it's broths are shite. Is it like broth as in like soup?
Mate, you are probably the first person that's actually got that right, because a lot of people are like, what the hell does broth mean? But it's like, yeah, it's just a soup, isn't it? A type of soup. I don't think I've ever done a serious track name in my life. Maybe some of the collaborations I've done in the past, just for kind of the benefit of like agreeing on something, because I would call it something totally different to the person I'm collabing with. But it literally, I just wanted to create a name that was just so ridiculous, and that's what it is.
You got cool names though. You're always playing with words. I can't remember one now, but I had a few like, oh, that's funny. It's
like fat dingers and things like that, like fat fingers. Yeah. I'm a big fan of going on random title generator, and just putting in like.
Oh, that's also nice.
An adjective, an adjective, and then a few other like a verb or something, and it just generates this ridiculous title of random words.
That's
funny. So I do stupid stuff like that. I don't take it seriously, mate, because I feel like if you're scrolling through on Beatport and you're seeing things like after party or like or dance floor rumble or basement jam, and then you see like
let's do it.
Fat dingers or wicks or broths of shit. It just, for me, it's like funny, though, I feel like you have probably an extra 10% chance they'll click on that track
because of the name. I never thought of this. It's funny to make something funny out of it, though. I'm always pretty serious. My last track's called Seduction because there's a lyric in which.
See, but mate, that there's nothing wrong with that at all, because I think it just depends where you start.
Yeah.
Whereas I've never started with serious names, so I always like to play around with it. Whereas I think if you want to be serious, that's brilliant. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Yeah.
Just my sort of view on all of it is to try and be a bit ridiculous and stupid. So
I used to have funnier names. Like back in the day, I had like Ringalinga. And I had all kinds of weird stuff, actually. I should do that more, man. I forgot all about this.
Yeah, definitely, mate. 100%. It's good fun. You can be really creative as well. And just, I love thinking about it for a long time. I love the generator.
I'll try that. That's a cool thing. You can also generate artwork. There's these AIs that you can use to generate artwork, which is pretty cool, actually, also to
100%. Yeah. It's easy, sort of running a label now. Well, it's not easy. The music's got to be good, but in terms of the creative aspect and getting artwork done and thinking about ideas and things, the internet is so useful now to just to help you along. Because you were just explaining then about having AI that helps with generating artwork and things like that. It's great. There's so much out there to help you. So with all of my track names, I always try and think about being a bit different, a bit unique, and then combining that with art. I just think the internet's brilliant for that sort of stuff now. Can really help you.
Yeah, man, it's also cool to see what comes out. It's interesting, these AI things. I think there's even AI to arrange your track at some point. It's crazy.
I think Aphex Twins released a plugin that basically can generate crazy ideas out of nothing, which I was reading about the other day. So. Yeah, it's definitely out there.
Max for Live plugin now, the Max for Live tool called Sketches. I remember that the guy that made it sent it to a bunch of certified trainers before, and like to test it or to just we could play around with it, give him feedback. And I think it's now an official thing. And Sketches is called. If you have like a bunch of clips, you should name them sort of like melody, lead, and you can just name them this, and then you can click generate, and it just goes from session view. It just generates like a whole
way
like an arrangement to start, and it has a break, and it actually it's sort of like an algorithm that chooses from different types of, and I think you can also choose different types of styles as well. It's interesting, it's where
that sounds outrageous.
At some point you go like, I'm a producer, you press a button and there's like a track.
There's your track.
And all hard day in the studio, man. Took me 3 clicks to get the right track.
I know. I do think things are getting. I do feel like things are getting too easy. Sadly.
Well, there's always the purists that buy gear, and that you can do whatever you want. The same as you can choose any name you want. I think it's always going to be. It's how much fun you have, right? For the rest.
Exactly. That's what it's all about. And it's also about. It's about having fun, but it's about being original. And trying to be original as best you can.
Whatever you want to.
It can't be avoided sometimes. it's things like Loop Cloud and Splice, etc. You know, I use loops. Everyone does, I think, or most people do. And so there's a risk of not always being original, but at least if you there are ways to make sounds original, loops
Yeah.
original, really, just by using VSTs and plugins to kind of adapt them to
Yeah, what I
your own
kind of
sound. But
liked usually, I'm not against loops and stuff, but I do feel like I released this track with Ari recently, which has a vocal. Can you feel it? And it has like a vocal, and I heard it in another track as well. I was like, yeah, should we now release it? Well, I'll just fuck it, let's release it. But now I'm doing some releases with Veerle, a friend of mine that I met through Duncan, one of my best friends, and she sings for me, and now I've got like a bunch of her lyrics, so it will make your music more unique in a way,
unique,
and
yeah.
also like it's the collaboration with somebody. Just reach out in your network, see if there's maybe some singer or somebody that can rap, whatever, or somebody that has a really good spoken word voice, and try to do it like this is great. But sampling goes a long way. You can sample your mom
Definitely.
or
I think you're right. So if you can spend a day with a session singer and just get loads of phrases,
yeah,
loads of hooks, and really kind of nice creative sections that you can use in your productions for the
yeah,
next
yeah,
the next 6 months, and that's
yeah,
brilliant.
exactly,
And
man. Yeah.
you have no risk of hearing it 2 days later on
Yeah, and it's
Beatport.
fun, and
So
it's collaboration. You have a whole day with somebody in the studio. You have some fun. You
mm,
probably learn from each other. So it's always good to collaborate, I think.
yeah, exactly. I
Yeah.
totally agree.
All right, we got Mr. Ul3. Hola, buenas noches. ¿Qué tal? We got Holt. He also says, how do you come up with ideas for bass lines? I always struggle so much and then give up on sketches. Any advice would be appreciated. Well, Mr. Holt,
Okay.
first he should also subscribe to the Super Serious Coaching, which I understood is full now.
Yeah. It's been an amazing well, 6 months really. I think 5 months since I started it. I'm trying to work out whether I should answer his question first before about talking about
Let's
the
answer
coaching
the question
aspect.
first, because there's a
Yeah,
lot of ways. Oh.
so I think so with bass lines there
Maybe
are
you want to
various
share your
ways of
screen or not?
sorry, bud.
You want to share your screen on the
Yeah, I was
maybe?
going to say we could
Yeah,
potentially
get
do that
into it.
actually.
Yeah.
Hold on, let me just have a look and see if I can find Zoom. Where are you? Sorry, I've got the controls here. Share screen. Let's get this open. Cool. So can you see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Cool. So firstly, the most important thing that you need to make sure is that you're using a good VST or plugin. So there are some really, really good plugins out there that can really help with bass lines. Things like Subboom Bass is fantastic. I'm a big fan of that. I really rate it. So I think I'm just going to have to look through because I've got so many different plugins at the moment. But yeah, Subboom Bass 2 is one of my favorites and a go-to for bass lines. But I think there are a few things you need to think about. So you need to make sure everything's in key for a start. There are ways that you can make sure that that's the case by using, under the MIDI effects, you have scale, and then there's minor. So if your track is in, I'll just create a MIDI track. If your track is in A minor, if you hit minor and make sure bass is set to A, there we go. And then if I add the plugin here, any note that I then play is going to be in key. So firstly, you're avoiding one of the issues, which is making sure that your bass lines are in key and all the notes are actually correct. So that's the first thing I do. You also need to make sure you're picking the right sounds as well. So you want to make sure that your bass is powerful enough and it has you're filling out the low end spectrum. So you're making sure that it's subby. And you're kind of really achieving a nice warm bass line, which is important. So picking the right sound is equally as important as making sure things are in key. I mean, sound choice is so important these days.
Yeah.
So
Half the
I think
battle.
that's something to really think about.
Yeah.
Then I would also start thinking about things like there are plugins out there like Skinnerbox. I don't know if you've ever talked about this on one of your shows
Yeah, yeah, and I
before.
even make tutorials with this, like using just basically using sequencers to generate ideas. You know,
Yeah,
I love. I use Mono
exactly.
Sequencer from the Max for Life, also Mono Sequencer. It's in the Max for Life Essentials. It comes with Ableton Suite. Check it out in their
Yeah,
packs. It's
yeah, exactly.
like getting a random sequence gets you at least going, and then it's usually you have a few clicks and suddenly you have something. And if you record the MIDI, you have a good idea.
Exactly, exactly. I don't know if you can hear that. Okay, hopefully you can.
Yeah. The sound is
Yeah.
coming through. Hey, and do you also
So,
save your favorites in your subboom bass?
sorry, buddy.
Do you save favorites in your subboom bass? Do you like you
I
can put those
actually, I
stars? You know?
actually don't, and I do that on purpose because I want to avoid using the same sounds. I
Yeah.
think when I start having a favorites bank, I actually gravitate to them more, and I found that with my template in the past because I've got a template which I've been using recently, which is full of my favorite drum hits, etc., etc. And what I tend to do is just I gravitate to the ones I know work and the ones I like.
Yeah.
And the problem I have there is that I then start to feel like my tracks are sounding too similar.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to just kind of go with a fresh slate every time,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. But
Yeah. Yeah. Of course.
Skinnerbox is a fantastic tool. Sting, sorry, I keep calling it. It's by Skinnerbox,
Yeah.
and it's a great tool for generating like little crazy little ideas. Obviously, this is really subby and not going to work on its own. But what you can do is if you create an audio track, once you found a particular sequence you quite like the sound of, if you then drag the audio, so monitor goes to in, and then you select subboom bass, which is here, and then set it to record. You can start to capture some of the ideas, and you can go back to subboom bass and tweak the density and move it around a bit. You can also capture. You go to MIDI, you can get the MIDI from it as well, which is quite handy. So you can just MIDI from subboom bass, and then if I do this, so that basically then goes in and draws all of the MIDI for you. So I think this will probably work better if I actually just put a kick in.
Not bad.
So you've already got you can just play around, and I think as well remembering to. By the way, if you guys can hear Milo crying next door, I apologise. I don't know if you can or can't, but this is bedtime, so this is a new part of my life where 7 o'clock Milo goes to bed, and he's right next door. So if you can hear him crying,
No,
I don't think you can. But
no, you should sample it, man. And
I
make a
don't,
track
I
called "Cry
don't,
Baby."
I don't think I'd be able to work with it, mate. It'd drive me insane.
You're already like, oh man, it's too much.
Oh no, too much.
Hey, by the way, did you know there's a new version of the Sting?
I didn't. I need to have a look.
Yeah,
I really need to have a look.
So apparently Ableton found it that good that they've collaborated, and there's a new version. I think it's cost a few bucks on the Ableton website as an extra pack. Then it will be available in your packs inside of Ableton, and it can actually click one button and it already creates the MIDI for you, so you don't have to record the MIDI, and you can change certain parameters of the pattern. So it's just not only a pattern. You can change the velocities and change some of the notes or the octaves, which is obviously like any other normal sequencer usually have. So they expanded a little bit on the idea, so it's nice. So check
That's
it
really
out
cool.
on,
Honestly, I'm a big fan of Sting.
Me too. Yeah.
So yeah, I'm definitely going to check that out. That's great. I mean, it takes a few seconds to do this, but actually just to avoid having to do it would be helpful.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm going to have a look, mate. That sounds good. I mean, there's a few different things out there. There's I know Alex Kidd's done a few sequences as well, which I'm a big fan of. Like instant house for things like hats.
He has great plugins, right? Yeah.
There are some really, really, really good tools, out there to use. So yeah, I think also when you're writing a bass line, it's really important that you're leaving space. Try and leave space between the bass notes and the kick. And if you are merging the two, So if you do have an overlap, make sure you're ducking it with sidechain compression. So using things like Kickstart, which is a fantastic plugin,
Yeah.
or just the Ableton compressor and making sure it's sidechained. I think those things are really important as well. So creating that space between the kick and the bass is really crucial, just to create that feeling of groove. And then things like swing, so making sure you've got some really nice swing presets that you're applying to everything, just to make everything real kind of like drag along and feel human. Um, and then, yeah, I think just some basic EQing. And actually, one plugin I'd really recommend checking out is RBass. I don't know if I've talked about it before on one of the Dives and Lives, but
Yeah. Sydney Giles also showed it, man. I've been a big fan of it for a year. I can't choose between RBass and Max Bass. I like Max Bass as well. Both of them.
so yeah, actually they're very similar, aren't they? I think they're both
yeah.
from Waves.
Yeah, they're actually, this one just looks fancier. I also like Vox on vocals. It's amazing. Yeah.
That's with it off.
Yeah. Such a great like low end harmonizer.
It's just it just adds like a nice bell over the low end, and it just sounds wicked.
Super nice. I love that stuff. Hey, another question comes in. Hey Andy, yes boys, he says. Nice. Where do you get your subboom presets? I think there's enough presets in there, but I don't know if there's any more.
Yeah, so I just use the standard ones that come with the plugin when you buy it. So I haven't actually used any more. I don't think since I bought it. Actually, there's a couple of other really good bass plugins like Walser, which is by the guys at Woodland Studios.
Yeah, how's that going?
So yeah, this one's a really nice bass. This comes with this comes with some quite nice.
It's presets from all kinds of artists, no?
So this is it's really cool actually because it's got sorry, let's get zoom out of the way. One sec. So I think it's Woodland Studios is by Iglesias, I think his name is. So hold on, let's just make sure that doesn't come out. But yeah, you basically get loads of artist presets. Some really lovely sounds here. So I really recommend checking out Walser Bass as well.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, I've tried the trial, but I've never got around to buying it. I think it's $40 or something. Was it?
Yeah, so I think it's around that. Yeah, and
it's
also Diva, another great plugin. Diva's like really good for bass lines. Yeah. So I think that's probably how I'd answer that question.
Cool, great. Well, that's a great answer. He says, "Thank you for answering, man." Well, there you go. Sting is free.
Oh, nice. No worries.
And Luke Lambert says, "How much headroom do you leave in your pre-master?"
-6 always.
Yeah, it's like this. Like everybody's. Like I've seen a video of Mr. Bill explaining 32-bit. Apparently, if you render your pre-master and it's all in red, you can go plus 365 decibels and still will sound great because he can just open it, take down the volume, and it will sound normal because of 32-bit. Apparently, it had so many bits you can't distort it for some reason. It's a whole like physics or mathematic explanation. If you are interested, people, check out Mr. Bill on bit depth. It's a great tutorial about why you should always deliver your pre-master in 32-bit.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, I definitely know that there are people out there that are some -3s, sometimes -9. So there's a bit of variation depending on the mastering engineer, but generally -6 is absolutely like fine.
Yeah, they have 6 dB to crank up the volume with some fancy 10K
exactly
harmonizer or
limiters and compressors and stuff.
Yeah. Cool. All right. So yeah, what's up, Luke? Nah, thanks for tuning in. Luke Ploeg is here. Make some great music. Good to see you here, man. It's nice. You got quite a bunch of people. And again, if you're on Facebook, I can't read the comments. So please join us on Twitch or YouTube. That's youtube.com/lessonsinlife. And give us a little sub while you're at it. Because, it's always good to have more subs. Yes. All right. So let's check in. This is like a new one, Flying High. It's going to be on your own label, right? You told me.
So in fact, it's not a new one. It's one I made.
Oh, wow. I thought it was a new.
Sorry, no. This is in fact something I made about 6 months ago and released 6 months ago. But it's just a track I've been really proud of. I've had so many lovely comments about it. The feedback's been really great. It's had support from defected playlists on Spotify.
Oh, wow. How come I totally missed that one? Flying High. I can't remember.
Yeah, no. So it's been really it's been supported by such a range of people as well, like across the spectrum of DJs. So Luke Solomon from Classic, he's been charting it on Beatport. Then you've got Ben Pierce, all the sort of Dungeon Meat guys, Sabrotha and Tristan. So just a really nice range of artists. So I didn't expect it to do quite as well as it did, and I think it ended up being in the Beatport charts for a very long time. Anyway, just really proud of it, and I really like it because it's quite different. It's very inspired by Dungeon Meat. So I love Brother and Tristan da Cunha so much. They're pretty much my idols these days.
Nice.
So and I wanted to make something that they would sign ultimately. I was desperate to send them demos, and this is what I made. Yeah. They didn't sign it. They signed another track, which I didn't think they'd like. So I've got something coming out on Dungeon Meat later next year, which is amazing. But yeah. So it's weird how things work. You make something for a label, they don't like it. You make something completely different that you don't think they're going to like, and they sign it. So whatever. Yeah. It works in mysterious ways, doesn't it? So yeah, it's a really swingy tune, and it's a bit nuts. Good for basements and dark rooms, I think, is probably where I'd imagine it. So is it worth me just running through it and playing it?
Yeah, just give it a spin and we'll get to the questions later. I see Andres Casillas is here. Welcome back, amigo. Jay Zandstra. Cool. Hey, man. Nice you're here. Cool. Let's play the track for a bit.
Can you hear it okay?
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. You okay, bud? Okay. I can hear you okay, mate. Can you hear me? It sounds like the music's playing, so for everyone on the stream, so I'm just going to leave it going.
Uh,
Hey mate, can you hear me? Hello? Hello? Hey mate, can you hear me? um, oh, I don't know. Cool. Can you, so they're saying on the chat they can, I
okay,
think. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. All right.
Oh, sweet.
Well, let's see if it. I don't know what happened. My sound card just like died on me for a little bit. Let's
He's
see.
back. He's back.
I think we're back. Are we back? We have sound. Okay.
Are you back?
I think. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but can you hear the music?
Yeah, I can hear this. And all right. Does everybody does everybody hear me too? It's like Camiel's mic is low. All right. Yeah, okay, that's because now my mic's better, right? Right? Okay, so my computer just said bye, or my sound card. It was behind my computer, so it might be that it got a bit hot. So I've now pulled it out. I changed the cable because this cable looks like really thin. So I think this is it. We're back. I fixed it. I was already like, oh shit, we got to cancel the show, and I was really looking forward to this one.
Oh,
Great,
mate, don't worry. You've done it.
nice. All right, we're back in business.
only true professionals can recover from tough times like that. So
That's true, man. Stay calm.
kudos,
Stay
stay
calm.
calm.
Change the
Exactly.
cable. Pull out the thing. All right. Good. We're back.
Oh, mate. I think they're saying they can't see me at the moment, so I don't know whether the
Oh
screen
yeah.
sharing's gone.
Yeah. Wait. Let me see. They only see me. Wait here. What? So it's we fixed it.
We
Yes.
fixed it. You did it. I think you need to go and pour yourself a nice glass or something, mate. After that.
Now I'll have some water, man. I'm actually. I don't. I only drink at parties. Mm.
Fair enough. Good man. That's a good mentality.
Yeah.
Cool. So I think most of the track was played okay. I think most of the guys heard it. So
Yeah.
um,
Get into it.
let's talk through it. So as always, when I make music, I preach a certain way, but it doesn't mean I'm always going to follow that method and go down that way. So or that route. I have a template which I really recommend people use for creating ideas and generating thoughts and things like that. And that's typically how I start things. But I can go down rabbit holes where I'll try something different or play with a different synth I don't normally use, etc., etc. So sometimes my projects can be a bit messy. Um, this one's not too bad, so I can run you through how I made this. But it's not as kind of tidy as I'd like it to be. And I actually think that whenever I literally, if I look back at any of my projects, I'm always like, oh my god, this is really messy. So I think that's part of the fun, right? Just having it not being as perfect as people expect things to be. I
Yeah.
think there's a lot
Yeah.
there's a lot to be said about having everything EQ perfectly and compressed perfectly and sounding great, blah blah blah. Actually, you can get away with stuff if it sounds good. Sounds good. So I think organized chaos. Yeah, someone's just said organized chaos, which made me
Yeah.
laugh because it's completely true. It's organized chaos.
Yeah.
Um, so right, let's have a look through it. So my template at the moment, I tend to have a low group which contains the bass and the kick, but actually for this particular track, it just has the kick in it, which is a really rough, compressed sounding kick drum. Sorry, I just need to move Zoom out of the way again. So just a really gritty kick drum, which I've taken from the Enter the Dungeon sample pack, which is a sample pack that Broather made, I think. And that pack is actually for sale, I think, at the moment on Broather's Discord. So it's definitely worth looking at. It's got the most unbelievable samples that just sound really rough. So this is the kick I used. I've actually.
Nice.
Oh, sorry, bud.
Yeah, this kick's amazing. It's a really nice kick.
It's great. It's great. In fact, all of them are really cool. Just utterly like filthy kicks.
Yeah, yeah.
And it just sounds really. It's just really. It's like decimals on everything, basically.
Yeah.
So obviously make sure it's in mono, put a tuner on it to make sure it's in key. I use Transit Master. I took the sustain down on it a lot to make sure the tail was shortened to fit with the sub bass that I've got, and then just stuck some EQ on it. It's got some quite rough elements in the kick, right, frequencies. So I had to do a bit of ducking and things like that. So that's the kick drum. And I just make sure on my groups that that everything's in mono and it's low end, just in case I forget to EQ, which has been known in the past, making sure that there's always a low pass at 30 to sort that out. Yeah. And then I've just done some automation with a filter. So the kick's actually really straightforward. So now when you talk about... So the main... I think the thing that makes this... the thing that makes this track really different is just how swung it is. It's a really swung tune. So if I start going through, let's just solo the drums. This tambourine, as an example, shows you. So I drew all of these in using my push, and then I applied this MPC 3000 1664. So it's quite heavily swung. But it just sounds. I just loved it. Like,
Yeah, it's a good swing.
it's really cool. Without it, it sounds like this, which also sounds okay, but with the swing, just works a lot better. It's quite extreme, but
Yeah.
it just kind of felt that way. Because I really love drawing in drums with a push. I really struggle with clicking and just drawing them in via mouse now. So I have to do everything via a push. Just absolutely love I just feel like my limbs are just like drawn to making things a bit swung and a bit nuts.
Yeah.
So I just made sure that all of my drum samples and elements were really. So that's the open hat. So this relationship here between the open hat and the closed hat, I really, really like. I tend to do this quite a bit. So just have that. So that again here is drawn in. You can see it's completely off the grid with a swing on it. So with a tom as well that's swung a little bit there as well. And I just love how it all sounded. When I was making this track, I was like, this sounds a bit nuts. You can see the snare here, so I've used it's the same pack for all the drum sounds. So the snares are again really swung here, same swing. Always make sure you use the same swing on all your elements. Don't have different swings on different things. It'll be absolute chaos, really. So
that will be an unorganized chaos.
Organized chaos, but yeah, really
unorganized chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah, because more swings, then you start to get so much clutter and stuff. That's the same like when you're adding like a lot of groove loops, which all are maybe differently swung. Back in the day when I used to use a lot of loops, at some point my whole groove was like fucked. So it's good to make sure to really look for those points where you see the swing, and sometimes to even correct your loops that you put in, so it's actually a bit more tight than just
100%, mate. And there are things you can do as well. So if you have if you've got like a loop that you love that you found on Splice or Loop Cloud or whatever, if you right click on it and then click on extract groove, what it does is it will remove the swing for you, which you can then apply to all the other elements in your track, which is really important. Yeah. So if there's a nice hi-hat loop, something like that, right click on it and then extract groove there on Ableton, and it will just appear in your groove pool, and then just make sure that the other elements that you add to the track then have that same swing, and then you're sorted. It's a really good thing to do. So yeah, for the drums, I just went a bit crazy, used 2 different snares, just one on the clap, just a tom in there filling in some of the low end. So yeah, in terms of the processing, I have Sydney's infamous effect rack on it, which I'm sure most of you guys will know, which is just an effects chain, which has some compression on it, some heavily thresholded compression and a bit of EQ, and then some reverb and filter delay, which I just dialed in on the drums group. That's without it. That's with it. So it just makes everything a bit more even. So no, the snares aren't going to be poking out too much in the volume, or it just gives that parallel compression effect, which I quite liked. Because the thing is, I'm dealing with quite a few samples that are very heavily distorted intentionally and things like that. So I needed to make sure that I was controlling the volumes a little bit and dialing everything in. So cool. So for the bass line, I have 3 different bass layers here, and they're all doing something slightly different. So the bass line was cut up from a pack. So this is a Sydney Charles sample, but I actually took the sample and then did things to it. Ended up with this, and I'll play it with the kick as well, so you can hear it. So it's actually a really short bass on its own like that. But you can hear that the bass is sitting, it's not sitting on the kick, it's sitting outside it, which I was talking about earlier. Making sure you're filling in those gaps and that space. And then I've added in this bass note here, this bass hit. So all it's doing is just filling in some extra space. The bass line at the start of the track is actually very simple, and the tom is filling out everything. The tom is tom. And then as we get further into the track here, I added another layer here. So that's a bit of a LFO-y sub bass, kind of almost like a Woosa bass, or Hoover bass line.
I love the classic vibe in this track. It's so it's so jacking. It's so, somebody says slap funk vibe. It's very jacking, and it's this like nice chord in there. It's really well done, man. It's really nice.
Thanks very much, mate.
Like saturation. It's just that everything is saturated. Everything is like rough and
yeah, it is. It's all really heavily saturated, distorted samples, which I think all of them have been recorded from vinyl as well. So they're really just very just authentic. I literally cannot speak highly enough about this pack, which I know is for sale now. I know Broth has released it recently, so people can pick it up. Definitely check it out. If you go to his Instagram, it's on there somewhere. So cool. So talked a bit about the bass line. In terms of processing on the bass, I think I must have probably done a little bit of just a bit of a, obviously just rolling off at 30 because it's really subby, rolling off around the mids there, just to make sure that it's just taking up headroom. Otherwise, a bit of a duck on some of the frequencies.
Yeah.
R bass in there as well, which worried me for a second because I thought it was peaking, but it's not.
Well, it sounded great, so maybe the peaking is great sometimes.
Yeah, that's true.
You get all these rules like always. Maybe this R bass sounds great when you distort it. And maybe somebody made a great track. I think, we sometimes tend to get so caught up in all the details that we forget to listen how good it sounds.
Exactly.
And
I
sometimes
completely agree.
The wrong thing can be right. If it sounds great, you might just have a great track. And also, there's this thing I've never heard a bad track that was mixed so well that it actually became good. But I've heard really really good tracks that were mixed really bad, but still were really good.
Yeah.
So
that's a good way of saying it.
People
Absolutely.
just focus on the music,
Samples. Just pick the right sounds.
Pick the right sounds.
Pick the right samples and sounds. Rule number one. You don't actually have to. This could be an interesting point of view, controversial point of view. You don't actually need to do a lot of processing on samples anymore because a lot of them have been processed already.
Yeah,
like everything's just reused, reprocessed. All of these kicks will have had EQ on them in the past and compression on them in the past. So I think
some of my best tracks that but I personally really favored. They were so easy and hardly any processing on it. They were just they came out really nicely. So I think therefore, if you just make a lot of music and you just pick out the stuff that sounds good, then you can also afford to make a lot of bad stuff in between. Do you make a lot of bad stuff in between, Timmy, or do you
yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. At the moment, because of Milo, my son being born 6 months ago, I'm just mucking around really. That's kind of what I'm doing. I'm just like I'm just playing around with ideas. I'm not putting any pressure on myself to make EPs at the moment. I'm just kind of going back to basics. So I'm making lots of rubbish. I've got about, I've got 20 loops that just sound garbage in my head. So
But you might go
yeah.
back to it in January and you pick one. You go
Mm.
like, oh, this one is actually pretty good. Poof, within two
Yeah,
hours,
yeah,
it's done. And I think that's the big
absolutely.
benefit of just keeping productive and just keep making loops. And then at some point you get to grab some stuff out of
Yeah.
there. Yeah,
Spend half an hour a day. Spend half an hour a day. Create a habit. Make it part of your blood. Just getting up in the morning.
make a
Just
little.
to spend 15, 20 minutes. Just load a kick drum in and play with a synth that you've never used before and just muck around with it and try and just spend 20 minutes just doing that, pressing record and just playing around until you get something really special and unique. Mucking
Yeah.
around with the parameters.
And even though it's never going to be released, you spend a few minutes and maybe a half hour, and you learn something about a synth, or maybe you've made a really good idea that you can finish later. There's many things. Yeah,
It's quite mental to think that people might have abandoned ideas that could potentially be Beatport number ones. That hurts me in my head, like thinking that
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah,
almost definitely happened. There's
yeah,
almost there's absolutely somebody out there that's had one of the most genius tracks in the world
yeah, yeah, yeah.
on
Probably a
like
few.
electronic
Yeah,
music, and they've been
yeah,
like, "Nah, this is not my style. I'm getting rid of it," or
yeah,
"Nah,
yeah,
I don't.
yeah,
I'm just not feeling it." And actually, it would
yeah.
just be unbelievable.
Yeah, you're just one thought away from making a
Yeah,
really good track.
yeah,
Sometimes it's the thoughts that wear you
that's
down or
it.
to get you on a different path. That's there's
Yeah,
also,
and
and that's actually really important. Therefore, it's so important to keep healthy, maintain a good social life. You just make sure
mm,
you're happy. Because I think if you're
mhm.
happy and you're good, even though a lot of music has been written from like very bad moments in life, but I do think that being healthy and taking good care of yourself will also be really important to be able to be really creative and
Yeah,
create stuff.
100%. And on the sort of flip side to that comment as well, I could wake up tomorrow and make a Beatport number one. There's literally nothing stopping me at all. I have all the tools in front of me, like most
Yeah,
people here watching, or Camille, you have all the tools in front of you to do that tomorrow. There's literally nothing stopping you. You just have to show up and try,
yeah,
and
exactly.
eventually you could do it. There's no reason why couldn't you?
Yeah, hence
There's
hence the 30-day consistency challenge. I'm running a plan. We're doing a new feedback session the end of December. Maybe you'd like to join and do feedback like we did last year, because I'm doing a
love
feedback
to.
challenge or a consistency challenge. So where I'm gonna make music every morning, for like at least a half hour or maybe 2 hours, depends on how nice the flow is, But at least show up every morning. At least do like a half hour to an hour of music, and do that
Yeah,
every day, and see what you have at the end of the month, and maybe release something from it, and you probably
definitely.
I think I did this in January, February last year, or this year actually, and that stuff's now all signed and it's now coming out, which is nice,
Amazing.
and I think if you invest that time for like 1 or 2 or 3 months doing that every day, just before work and just after work, a half hour or an hour, you will end up with stuff after 3 months, and it might be that number one hit, if you really want to go that far, But it's, yeah, you have to show up, and I really admire how you were juggling your full time job and your girlfriend being pregnant, and yeah, releasing all these tracks on all these labels. Cecile, Moxie, Strictly, PIV, but it's
Yeah, mate.
Dun-
Thank you. That's very
Dungeon, man.
kind of you.
It's insane,
I'm Yeah, I'm very tired now, which is why I think subconsciously I'm taking a break from just not making originals right now. I'm just having a bit of a space to just gather my thoughts again, and also with the coaching platform which I'm doing. So I'm looking after there's about 11 guys at the moment, just
Yeah.
helping them with their productions, giving them feedback, talking through problems, loading up Ableton projects that they've been working on, things like that. That's been my focus over the last sort of 5 months since Milo's been born. So it's been really refreshing for me to have a breather from my own stuff. Um,
Hey, and is it
I
not
think
is it not an option to I don't know what I don't even know what job you have. I think we spoke about it. Like I have.
I'm a technical consultant actually for a commerce platform.
And is
So
is it is it would you be willing to extend your platform from the super serious coaching, which you told me you're full? Wouldn't it be, what if you get 20 more people signing up? Wouldn't it be an idea to like work a day less, like at your regular job? Or
yeah,
yeah,
yeah, oh mate, it's definitely an option. It's definitely
yeah,
an option. Something I'm exploring at the moment.
yeah,
Well, I'm not. I wouldn't say I'm exploring at the moment. I think at the moment, because of Milo being so young, my priority is just looking after,
Yeah.
making sure I get
Yeah. Actually, yeah, you don't
consistency.
want to go. Oh,
Um,
sorry, Milo. I just
yeah, sorry, mate. I'm
sorry.
completely skint. I left my job, and I have to. I just have to. I have to be a bit careful at the moment.
Yeah.
But things are exceeding expectations. Like I'm looking after two guys in Australia, a guy in Arizona. In fact, one of his friends in Arizona is trying to get involved. It's just completely global, and I haven't even done any marketing or advertising.
Yeah.
It's all been quite naturally organic through.
Yeah. The same.
Um,
Yeah.
it's brilliant, and I really enjoy working with every one of the guys. I can see Greg commenting in the chat at the moment,
Nice.
who's
Yeah. Big ups
part
to the super serious crew, guys. Show
of.
us who you
he's
are. It's
he's one
nice
of.
though.
Yeah, it's great, mate. He's one of the members who he's a good friend of mine, Greg. I love Greg dearly, and
Nice.
his productions are rapidly improving. He's fantastic producer now.
Man,
So
I think
so
this membership is great, and I think the way it grew organically with you, it's really important. I also had never done any advertisement, only in the beginning for getting my classes full when it was pandemic,
mm,
when I just
mm,
started out. But the last year, I now did some advertisement on my sample packs. But for the rest, I try to just grow it organically, so you get friends of friends that are joining, or people that and people that actually have done something with you. They refer somebody, and then you get like sort of like the similar kind of people that actually you can help the best. I think this is how most of my
definitely.
private
I feel
students.
like when you're setting up adverts and things like that, you run the risk of not necessarily getting the right people
Yeah,
involved. So I think when it's word, obviously that's not always the case. But I think when it's organic and it's friends of friends, there's a bit of a genuine connection to everyone
yeah.
and like interest. So that's where I'm steering. Also, like I say, I can't really at the moment. Just I really want to grow it, but I can't. I just haven't got any more time.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
most nights, I'm on calls with the guys and trying to
yeah.
help them. So,
Yeah, you want
but
to you want
yeah,
to maintain also your quality, right? You can have 30 people, but then
no,
you can't really manage everybody, and you don't want to like that's what I keep my group small, because otherwise if
absolutely.
you
You want
have
to
like
you want to make sure
25
you're spending
people,
enough time with all
yeah,
of them and
yeah,
concentrating on them
yeah,
and things like that. So
yeah,
it's
exactly,
very easy to get swamped and not remember what you're doing and things like that. So,
yeah.
um, but yeah, also Milo wants to see me hopefully more than once a
Who is this
month.
guy that's always
He's
in his
like, yeah,
room?
he's like, who the
All
hell is
these
that bloke
beats,
that's
yeah.
next door that I can
Oh,
hear every evening?
I'm 8 now,
Like,
and I've never seen my
yeah,
dad. Apparently, he's a really good producer.
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly. So
yeah, yeah,
I have to be careful.
yeah, yeah.
But no, mate. It's super serious coaching if anyone's interested.
There's a
No,
waiting line. I see Jay is already saying patiently waiting in line.
there's another tier which is just videos as well.
Mm.
I realize that I'm just like hijacking the stream to advertise this. Sorry, mate. But anyway,
It's all good, man. My platform is for everybody that wants to plug anything.
cheers.
I I
Thanks,
I
mate.
think I'll get around. I have students all over the world too, Timmy. Don't worry
Yeah.
about me.
No, that's cool. No, I know. I just I don't want to be
I'm happy to
diverting
see
off topic
Jay.
too
I'm
much.
happy to see Jay in line, because Jay did my intermediate course, so I'm happy to see him
Oh,
jump around.
nice.
You need to jump around a bit, and I think it's I also teach at SAE in Amsterdam, and I when I teach there, some of their students their students jump to me at some point. So it's all everybody just we're all just
Absolutely.
flowing here,
Absolutely. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, I've done stuff with Damaso. Um, I've been on various different platforms. So
yeah.
yeah, absolutely, mate. It's good to explore. So,
That's how
um,
it goes. You jump around a little bit. That's what the Joker or Coulter also did before he
yeah, yeah,
he
yeah.
came to me, but he also went to I forgot his name. He went to somebody in the UK, but it's like 4 or 5 years ago, and
Bernsky.
he
Was it Bernsky or
I think it was Bernsky. Yeah, no, it was some other dude. I'm unsure, but he also went around to you get information from other people, and you use that until you sort of like finally get everything, and suddenly the records start rolling out. You're in a good flow. So it doesn't matter if you go to Timmy, Camiel, or DeMarzo or anybody.
No, of course.
As long as it inspires you to keep on enjoying and learning new stuff and getting better until you're like, now I got it. But you will never be done because it's never done. You're always learning, you know. So that's cool. But maybe at some point you don't need to pay for lessons anymore, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I still subscribe to a few different platforms actually, because I feel the internet's a weird place, because you feel like you can never stop learning, right? You're always feeling like, you know, my YouTube homepage now is just full of like, try this new plugin, like check this new compressor, blah blah blah. And so I spend my entire life going through these videos, learning it, trying to learn every day. I sort of allocate myself half an hour of trying to pick up something new or going through something just to give myself a bit of like brain food, for lack of a better
new
phrase.
techniques or some good tutorial from some tutorial dude. I saw the Slink devices on your sometimes when they're getting a new device is really good. These Slink filters are really crazy, you know, so it's nice to use something new or to explore this. And also like the Fab Filter videos on fabfilter.com. These are great, man. Like you, I think it was you that showed the Saturn multi-band saturation. So man, that rocked my world. I even made a tutorial about it. I was so inspired from
Saturn 2 is fantastic.
Yeah,
it's my favorite plugin. If you feel like a sound is lacking, like maybe some mid-range or something, or some nice like low end, just whack Saturn 2 on it and just beef up those frequencies, give it some nice saturation. It's just an unbelievable plugin. I'm a big fan. I need to talk to you. Don't let me go today without talking to you about Can Opener as well.
Can Opener. Well, let's get into it. I see Danny Snowden is online. Hey, man.
Oh, Great Danny, joining. What a legend. So Danny lives about 10 minutes away from me, cool. Which is amazing. So we've been linking up a little bit, which has been great. Just unbelievable producer, nailing it constantly. So yeah, I think we're going to start to do a couple of bits together, which will be really cool. So I'm looking forward to working with Danny.
That's so nice. Maybe get Danny in the show as well. Does he work similar to you? Do you work
so Danny's working, Danny works, I can't remember what he does exactly, but yeah, he's got a 9 till 5, 9 till 6 like me, and then does music in the evenings. So very much, we're actually looking at studios together recently, looking at getting one together in the area, just a nice space to go and work in. So hopefully we manage to get to do that still. But yeah, good to see you, Danny, mate.
Nice.
Looking forward to working with him.
Mats van Wijk, also here. Great. Tapski from Budapest. Hey, man. Good you're tuning in. We got loads of people tuning in today. Really nice. All right, what's this Can Opener guy?
Let me just talk about Can Opener. Yeah. So, right, how do I explain this? So mixing in headphones comes with challenges, right? So the main challenge that you have with mixing in headphones is that when you're listening in monitors, my right ear will hear the left monitor. I will hear volume from the left monitor. So my right ear will hear the left monitor as well as the right. And my left ear will hear the left and the right. Whereas when you've got headphones on, your left ear is not hearing your right headphone.
Yeah, it's very, very.
So it basically means that you're not getting a true sound stage. I'm going out of my depth slightly.
Yeah, like you're not in a room, so you're losing sort of the sense of acoustics, right? A little bit, yeah. Interesting.
You're not getting like a true sound. So basically, what crossfeed does, or Can Opener, is it basically sends signal that would ordinarily just be in your left headphone. It sends a little bit to your right and vice versa, and creates a bit of a realism effect. So mixing in headphones actually becomes legitimate and not just a myth like it was a long time ago. So what you can do is you stick it on your master. You've got, so Mix Engineer is really, really good. And I don't know whether you guys will hear this. So it's so subtle, and I know at the moment that you're probably just hearing volume difference.
Yeah.
I'll try and volume match them. So what I can feel when I'm listening to this is I can actually, it feels more like Dolby Atmos, if
Yeah,
that
yeah,
makes
yeah, yeah,
sense.
yeah. I have the feeling it's a little bit like like it's getting
It,
wider or something.
it's getting wider.
Yeah,
It's like you're in a room basically. So it's
interesting.
been it's a really famous plugin for mix engineers who like to mix on
I'm
the
gonna
move and
write
things like
down
that. And I saw a
Camiel for that.
YouTube video. So basically, yeah, if you're mixing in headphones, get this guy and use it because it's flipping awesome.
Yeah.
It's changed the game for me a bit because I'm in a bit of a bad space at the moment with my studio, as Danny knows, who Danny Snowden was mentioning earlier.
Yeah.
Me and him have been talking about getting a studio together in the area, renting a space. Just because I'm just not enjoying the mix environment in here, and my room's a bit too,
Boomy.
so
Yeah, yeah. I
too
just got
beamy.
this panel here that I showed you. I got it today. It's a big one. It's also very thick. I think
Hmm.
I'm gonna have to need like 10. I want to do the ceiling. I want to do the sides. I want to like make a full. I've got some diffusers already here, the wooden
Yeah,
one.
nice. Yeah,
So
I saw that in the background.
I'm gonna get like I really want to make. I've got a bass trap here. You can't see it's a tube bass trap to test, and it's actually pretty nice. You can stack them in the corners on top of each
Hmm.
other. They're like a big round tube bass traps. These are they're pretty expensive, like a 130, 150, depends on which
Hmm.
brand. If you get GIK acoustics, I got this from Bluetone in Poland, and they seem pretty good. They're pretty heavy also. So it's I really want to nail it. So if you get the studio, just nail the acoustics, man. But you're definitely gonna spend like almost 2K on good absorbers and
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get at
It's a,
least close to a flat sounding studio.
it's a lot of money, but then if you combine it with Sonarworks Sound ID,
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you're
yeah.
sorted. I fully recommend using that.
Yeah.
So I can make. In fact, this track was made on in here in the studio with my little Genelux that are like absolute midget. They're really small with Sonarworks, and then I've just got these vocals just sat behind me now that are ridiculously expensive, doing nothing because the room doesn't work. So
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's 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 hard. It's hard, and
Yeah.
I think that mental headspace I've been in recently and not making music is compounded by not having the perfect room. So
Yeah, but you
um,
managed for a long time on the small Genelecs, and maybe just put the Genelecs back then.
yeah, I'm using them again now. I
Yeah,
just need to
yeah,
get back into that mental state where I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, this is fine. It's not a
yeah,
problem. I can do
exactly.
this.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
there,
yeah,
and also there are lots of people out there to help you. Like there's lots of great mix engineers that will take your stems and make them sound perfect. So
yeah, yeah,
it's not, it's not hard. Well, it is hard. It's not the end of the world if you don't have
yeah,
the best room. And in
yeah,
fact, technology like Can Opener, I also use VSX as well. I don't know if we've talked about this before,
yeah. The
but
Slate stuff.
the Stephen Slate stuff.
Yeah,
So I use this. I don't know if you can hear that,
yeah,
but
yeah, yeah. It sounds like we're in a club now.
it sounds amazing.
Yeah,
Yeah, I love it. So you can
yeah,
make it
but
work.
but remember, there's always been really good tracks mixed really badly, but they still were good tracks. And there were
Yeah,
no bad
exactly.
tracks mixed really good that they suddenly became good tracks. So, let's for sure just, I have trust in your tracks because you've made so
Thanks,
many good
mate.
tracks. So don't worry
Don't
too much about
don't
this
need to
stuff, man.
overthink it, do we? It's just
Exactly.
absolutely pointless. Anyway, man, we've got off topic, haven't we? It's been
Yeah.
perfect.
This is the Dive in Live chat. This is how it goes.
It's
And
great, mate.
and
I've
there's
loved it.
there's I think around 30 people watching us. So, there's
Oh, super.
everybody, thanks for joining and for hanging out with us and hearing us chat. It's nice. I'm glad to be
Yeah.
back. Winter time is going to be great. I have some great, great things for lineup ideas coming for January, February, March. I'm going to be home. I've got my new studio. Why would I travel? So I'm going to stay home and just organize more and more streams for everybody. So it's going to be really cool.
Amazing.
Yeah,
And
man.
yeah, I can definitely confirm because Camille mentioned earlier about who he's potentially got on Dive and Lysine, and they are the creme de
Yeah.
la creme. So yeah, it's very exciting.
Yes, man. It's just,
Cool,
it's,
mate. Right, so let's just get through this a bit more. Talked about the bass and the drums then. So this deep stab was actually just a sample hit that I took. It's got a bit of processing on it, just some imager to make it feel a bit wider. I didn't want it to be right down the middle and too narrow. Put a bass mono on it to make sure the low end, I don't think there is much, not really, under 130. So it's kind of just protecting it more than anything. A bit of dynamic EQ on there just to duck it when it pumps up. It's just a very raw, deep stab, and I actually use Soothe on it, which I don't know if you know Soothe, but it's
Suits
a bit like
yeah.
Rezo.
Yeah. Suits also doing the dynamic EQ on it. It's interesting.
So Rezo's really good for basically finding out really annoying frequencies, or sort of really resonant frequencies, and then ducking them.
Yeah,
that's a bit too much here, so I can just bring that up slightly. Yeah, so Soothe and Rezo are very similar plugins.
Yeah.
Rezo's really easy to use. I'm a big fan.
Is it a new one for mastering the mix? Because I've used lots of mastering in the mix, mastering
yeah,
in the
it is
mix,
new.
but this must be new. You're so on top of it, my friend. Nice to see.
So thanks, mate. So just to show you how good Rezo is, if I stick it on my drums, calculate targets, it basically sees all of these red pluses here as bad frequencies. And what you can do is engage it. So now it's dynamically EQing it. So it's getting rid of the horrible crap. If you find that the sound's changing too much, select them all, bring them up.
And take them all the way down? Interesting. Oh, you can put it on everything. That's interesting. That's really nice. Yeah, you can also use like a fab filter for it, but you can't. Fab filter doesn't do them like all at once. I don't know if there's an option.
It's just a time saver. It really is a time saver. It's unbelievable.
It's super cool.
So I tell all my guys about this, and I think most of them have got it now. It's really, really wicked. It saves you a lot of time. Cool. So we've done the stab. So I think the vocals are a big part of this. So the male vocal here, which this is a technique I used on a track of mine called Buzz the Tower as well.
Mm-hmm.
So I basically just found a vocal.
Do it like that. Pump it up, y'all.
And this is from a pack, like an old vinyl rip pack that had a load of acapellas on it. And I just, I think I right-clicked and then sliced a new MIDI, transients, and then just, I think maybe I did, I can't remember exactly what I did. It might have been, what was it? No, you know what I did? I think I dragged it in, found the bit that I liked, which I'm not going to be able to guess right now, but
with that radio yours. I'm trying to get to.
So I grabbed it here and then right-clicked it and sliced a new MIDI,
exactly.
And then did probably transient.
Transient is the standard one, I think.
Yeah. So basically, then what it allowed me to do is.
Oh, it's a solo.
Hold on.
Yeah.
So you already now have like so many cool things that you can do, and if you add in an LFO like this, map it to like various bits, so loop compression, and then you can do it like. So you can see what I did basically with that vocal. So I basically. So what I did here with the vocal was sliced it to MIDI, and then you'll see the loop compress.
Yeah.
Same with this vocal here. So yeah, I was just mucking around with the vocals, and I was just like, "Oh, this is so cool."
Very cool trick. Because it's basically shortening the loop. Like it's like the slice is getting shorter and shorter and shorter. And it's great to LFO that to make it or like sort of like.
So using loop compress, just basic, like you say, mate. It's just shortening the loop slowly. It's got some auto pan, some EQ on it, some chorus. and yeah, just resulted in a really kind of trippy, weird sounding male vocal.
Yeah, cool. Sounds are awesome, man. It's on point. So because there's it's not your common like your common stabs or your common like housey. There's like
it's all a bit just nuts, isn't it?
Yeah,
industrial.
But it's nice to do sometimes. To throw in some weird shit. I think that's great. That's great.
Yeah, thanks, mate. I get so much pleasure from making music like this. I much prefer to make stuff like this than I do any other sort of style I make.
Yeah.
I think this vocal here as well is a real identity of the tune.
It's a great
got some sidechain, filter, some EQ. It's really, you can see here how much I've had to duck it because it was really piercing.
Really sharp, yeah.
Some chorus and then filter freak on it, which is just making it sound a bit nuts and a bit strange. But yeah, that female vocal, when I heard it, I was like, oh, I love this too much. I'm going to have to use it. I can't remember what pack it's from. So when I was making this, I didn't actually, it took me a while to get to this point here, but I ended up using, I think it was one of the Alex Kidd, what's it called? Proper. Oh, mate, this is going to test me again. And I never remember this plugin ever. Probabilistic. That was it. It was Probabilistic by Alex Kidd.
Ah, cool.
So I basically had this on. In fact, I'll show you quickly. I'll try and show you anyway. So I had my drums. I had a perk channel, which is gone, which is really annoying. Anyway, I'll add it back here. I basically put in a drums, a drum rack, and then I had loads of percussion. So if I just go to Luke Van Dyke's and then go single hits, percussion.
Yeah, Mats van Wijk was asking, what's the BBD Dance Vocal Compression Rack from? It's when you actually right-click a vocal or a sample and you slice to a new MIDI track. Ableton creates a new drum rack where this vocal compression is a option in the macros. So just right-click any sample in your arrangement. If you drag it in as an audio sample, right-click it and slice to a new MIDI track. Then you get like this same macro thing he has.
Yeah.
You can also do it with chords or lead sounds. It's funny.
Yeah. Oh yeah, sounds great.
Yeah,
sounds really cool when you do it.
Change the pitch. Okay.
So for this particular sound here, which I think for me was one of my favorite parts of the tune, I found this by using this. So it's probabilistic. I've got the drum rack in with loads of random percussive sounds. And then I just press like random. It's already a great track on its own. I could just bounce this out now.
Yeah.
But like I put the swing to 70%, and I found this hit. And it just sounded so good. So I was like, right. And I recorded it to audio because it's the only way that I typically get probabilistic back into audio again. So I just loved how it sounded. So it's that not that. Just sounds so like out of time, but in time, if that makes sense. It just sounds really odd.
That the randomizer is just like a nice sequencer again. It's a sequencer, but then it's sort of also like putting an ARP in front of your drum rack filled with congas. You'll get like super nice, and it just hits some keys and all the stuff you get. You go like, oh, this is nice. It's generally again with this randomizing and then sort of like uncontrollingly getting happy accidents or
100%.
Like controlled happy accidents, whatever.
I don't think I can go without it now. It's a really big staple in my productions whenever I make anything. I'll never finish a track without trying that sequencer with some percussive hits, because you can find some gold. And then, so that's kind of most of the technical stuff. Some textures, they're just loops.
Yeah, where do you usually get your textures from?
I get them from sample packs, really, and what I'll do is add them to mixed in key.
Yeah.
Or record box.
Yeah.
Scan the keys, make sure that they all roughly fit. I mean, most of them are going to be glitchy sounds, or maybe like soundscapes or cityscapes and things like that.
Yeah, this weekend.
But I feel like.
Oh, sorry for interrupting you. I just
no, it's all good. There, I was just gonna say that the sometimes they contain a bit of like harmonics in them, don't they? Not always, but like sometimes. So I feel like it's worth checking the keys if you can.
Yeah. You are tuning it a little bit. Yeah, I'm going to record my own this weekend. A friend of mine, I don't know if you know him, Tripping Jaguar. He used to be Francesco Robustelli like many years ago. And he used to do a little bit of like house and minimal house stuff, but he moved more onto soundscapes, and he's doing like more like crazy projects like audio wise. He's also working with some people in Amsterdam. They create surround experiences, and he says, yeah, I'm coming to Valencia. Oh, nice. He said, he used to be my band, 4 Guys, 1 Cave. We used to have this band with only hardware. We used to do some shows, and he's here, and he said, let's go record some Valencia. I was like, yeah. So we're gonna go walk around with our Tascam recorders and go to the park here where people are skating. There's kids. There's a football.
Oh, amazing.
So you can go everywhere and just record some stuff. So this is again like the same as you would ask somebody to record, or go with a friend, make some field recordings and use this in your music. That will make it makes it just a little bit, more an activity sort of thing.
100%. Oh man, I'd love to hear those when they're done. I bet you get some really good stuff.
Yeah, usually they're pretty soft in the mix, but but he probably will make something totally different than me. I will probably put it in some house track as a background texture, and he will probably make like a whole ambient soundscape from it, which is cool.
They're nice textures are so good for creating house music's generally a little bit loopy, and textures make things a bit more random and pop and churn and whatever.
Yeah, and it sort of like fills the spectrum that it doesn't feel as empty. So like I feel that it sort of like adds, and if they're soft, it's nice. But also some producers make them really loud. I've got some. What was it? I think it's like Minilog once said, like, sometimes noise is really good and you put it really loud in your mix, or people like Burial, you can hear the the noise in there, and it's sometimes really a cool experiment. Is why not put it super loud? Or like this intro track that we had for the show that you said, oh, like nice ambient set of stuff. That's a track that I made like I think 10 years ago, where I thought like I want to make a track where the kick is in a supporting role, not the main role. So I put like the kick super soft. It's just supporting all the other shit that's going. So it's always also nice, at least for me, to keep it interesting, to try different things and to see how that works. Of course, to find the formula to make this #1 house track is also fun. Whenever that's the aim, but it's also nice to just fool around and just don't forget to have fun and try shit out. The more you fuck around, the more you'll learn. Did you see this video recently on YouTube? The more you fuck around, the more you'll learn. There's this guy that made like a YouTube video where he has this graph, and one graph is like, okay, the more you learn, and the other one is fucking around. And then he says, okay, so here you see how much you have to fuck around in order to learn how much. So if you fuck around on a level of 7, you'll learn at a level of 7. And it's a very lame joke, but it's true. The more you,
I think it is true, 100%. Yeah, like if you show somebody how to use a plugin, you'll generally make something better than if you're trying to use it to actually like start a track.
Exactly.
Like
Sometimes that happens. Yeah.
It's weird. It's the psychology behind it. Like you stop caring. Around. You just stop caring so much.
Yeah. I had it this week, man. I was doing the intermediate. I was making a track showing, or the SE. I did a lesson, and I showed the mono sequencer, and I got this amazing patch out of it. I was like, you could do this, and I'm just showing all the options, and then I was like, fuck, I just, and then I hit a wrong button. I lost the whole sequence. And then I said, no worries, let's do it again. We'll ram them, and we do sort of like the same things. And within like 30 seconds, I had another great patch. It's like, what? This never happens,
That's it, exactly. Happy mistakes, happy accidents.
Yeah, man. It's
like,
wicked, mate. It's like when you're not care. You're just like fooling around.
Yeah.
It's like
and you press things you wouldn't normally press, and
yeah.
I completely agree. Or when you've had about 15 pints and you start Ableton and do it that way.
Yeah.
Like, don't ever not record drunk sessions, because they always come out with something. There'll be something in there you like.
It's interesting, because you're just fooling around.
Exactly that. I think the last thing to
we
talk
at
about
Dive
is
Live
just...
do not promote drinking shitloads of beer before
No,
studio
don't,
session. We do not,
don't.
before I get sued. Okay, disclaimer.
Then the cowbell. Probably the last thing to talk about. Just because for the second drop, I just wanted like something to happen on the second drop and sound different. Everything became a bit like, oh, there's nothing new happening, blah blah blah. So I just chucked in a cowbell with exactly the same swing as the tambourine. In fact, I think you can. Yeah. Anyway, it's the same as the tambourine. It's exactly the same notes. And then I stuck in a transpose on it just to make it sound weird as it comes down. I forgot to say that vocal is by Creature. I don't know if you guys know Creature, the producer. Yeah. It's from one of his sample packs. He's actually a good friend of mine, and I just thought it was so funny putting on the track. It sounded wicked.
I asked him on the show. You should ask him if he wants to come on my show. I asked him, but we never got there. Well, did he speak this? Did he say this? Yeah.
So that's his voice. I'm sure it is. It's just him, because he did a sample pack, and it's one of the vocals.
Yeah.
And I can tell it's just him just recording it.
What you laughing at?
I just loved it. I thought it suited the tracks. It's just a bit weird. And I've just got some like little stabs, distorted stabs. Is that going to play anything? What's going on? Why aren't you playing?
Maybe there's a faulty plugin on it. Maybe that Decimort is killing it. There you go. Your Decimort. Is
I actually didn't. I don't even think that's in the track. So I think that was purposely. Little sound effects like that, and then some stabs. Some more like. There's these guys here. So they were things that I sort of mucked about and manipulated, but all samples that I've just used and then sort of mucked about with.
Yeah, cool.
And that's the track, really, mate. I think that's probably.
Thanks for sharing it.
Yeah, no worries. It's a different one. It's a weird one, but it's
cool.
fun.
And sometimes weird is cool, and also keeps you like out of your normal zone. You know, you're not making all time like the same stuff. And I really think it's fun, and it sounds convincing. I know more like these type of tracks that are a bit funky and weird. You know, which is nice. You did a great job, like getting one of those out. You know.
Thank you. Thanks, Camiel. Yeah, I appreciate it, mate.
Let's go to your second track on Richie Next label. And I think it's Felt It in My Bones. That's the one.
I feel it in my bones. Yeah.
And it's still out, right? People can get this.
Still out at the moment. Yeah, absolutely. It's been doing quite well in the charts, this one, and rack 'em up. So yeah, nice. Hope you guys like it.
Let's play it for a bit, and then we'll be back, and then you can plug everything you want.
Complicated.
Yes, sir.
Yo.
What a nice tune. I love the way that
Thanks,
bass line
man.
works with those strings. It's an amazing tune.
Thank you, mate.
Let's see. Yeah, so maybe it's good. We've been at it for a long time. Maybe it's time to round up. And maybe there's something you want to share with us, like you want to plug, something you... Yeah, I don't know. What's coming? What's cooking?
So what have I got coming up? My next EP's with the very talented Lucas Alexander, which I'm really excited about. So that's coming out on Moxie.
Yeah, I remember that
in
one.
February with James Views. He's done a remix, which is really cool.
Yeah,
been getting loads of like clips on Insta, things like that. So great support already on that one. So very excited for that to come out. I've got a single on Nervous as well, which will be
nice
next year. I'm releasing on Gideon's label, who runs Block 9 at Glastonbury. So doing some bits with him, which I'm excited about as well. And a couple of remixes. I'm going to start a remix for Moan soon, which will be good. So yeah, just a few bits.
Just
as I say, no, like
I thought you were taking it more easy with your kid being there and all, but
these a lot of these things are tracks that have been there for a while. They were finished last year, so I need to. The thing is, next year I'm going to be completely empty, I think, or like towards the second half of next year until I get some bits going. So that and also just if anyone's interested, have a look at Super Serious Coaching, which is my platform. Do videos here and there if anyone's interested in any of that. And yeah, I think that's probably it for the moment, mate. I think they're all the things I want to shout about. Thanks for having me on, mate. Like we have a great relationship. I really enjoy talking to you. Really enjoy these sessions with you as well. So looking forward to the next one, hopefully in another year.
Of course. As long as you keep releasing, then we'll get you on.
Yeah,
but, otherwise we just also good to catch up. It's nice. I like to have you on, and it's amazing how you keep juggling all these things and having a kid and having a job and still releasing all that stuff and doing this show and doing this serious coaching.
Yeah.
So you're rocking it, man, and it's nice to see. And it's
mate.
inspiring to see. And even though you also showed us where to click today, just how you feel your life and design your life, I think it's very inspiring. So keep
Thanks,
that going, man.
Really appreciate it, mate.
And everybody watching, obviously, thank you for tuning in. I'm doing some teachings on the Wednesdays, but I think the next one will be Job de Jong. I know you know Job de Jong, the Dutch guy.
Yeah,
he's going to be on.
Very talented.
So that's nice. And I think Wazoo is making a comeback. Our friend from New York, he's doing great. He's released on Soundgarden, from what's his name? This classic progressive guy. He's on a Unit D, but also Soundgarden. I forgot his name, but he's doing some great stuff. You know, this guy's very good in making melodies and making more progressive house, which is really nice. So I'm looking forward to all these sessions. And as we said, I'm working on some big guys that's going to come in the new year. So I'll keep you posted. And Timmy, thanks. People, thank you. And we'll see